Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting of the City of Kingman City Council to order today on Tuesday, October 21st at 5 p.m. I will ask our clerk Meredith to do roll call, please.
Mayor Watkins is excused this evening. Vice Mayor Samily.
Here.
Councilmember Dykens.
Here.
Councilmember Savage.
Here.
Councilmember Staley.
Present.
Councilmember Walker is excused this evening. Councilmember Ward.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Meredith. We'll go ahead and go into our invocation to be given by Pastor Michael Bell of the Kingman Nazarene Church. If you'll please rise, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilor Dykens.
Let us pray. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In his great mercy, he has given us a new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. We thank you, Lord, for your love and grace upon mankind and for your help in our time of need. We humbly ask for your wisdom and help for this council today. Help them in their endeavor to operate this city with all its multifaceted departments. Give each supervisor your wisdom to be the best they can be for this city and at this time. Protect all those who work for this city, the firefighters, police, EMS, maintenance, water and sewage departments, street and waste workers. Bless our mayor and the chief of police today. May this city prosper and grow under the anointing and grace of God. We pray these things in the matchless name of Jesus Christ. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The council may go into executive session for legal counsel in accordance with ARS 38-431.038. to discuss any agenda item. The following items may be discussed, considered, and decisions made relating thereto. We're going to change things up a little bit, and we do have our presentation. All right, so agenda item number 1A, high ground presentation on community engagement survey results. At their September 9th, 2025 special council meeting, council discussed the market feasibility report and financial options for the proposed sports, recreation facility, and other parks and recreational improvements. Following that meeting, staff engaged High Ground Public Affairs consultants to conduct a poll to determine the support for a general obligation bond to fund the construction of the facility along with the other parks and recreational improvements. High Ground Public Affairs consultant has completed their survey and will now present their findings. City Manager Walsh.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We have Paul Bentz here with us today. He is the representative from High Ground, and he conducted the survey. So I'll turn the time over to him to present what he found.
Welcome, Paul.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here today. My name is Paul Bentz. I'm the Senior Vice President of Research and Strategy at High Ground Public Affairs here in Phoenix, Arizona. We do a wide variety of statewide, regional, and local survey research and have been nominated and voted as the best pollster in the state of Arizona for 5 years from the Arizona Capital Times. You may remember several months ago, we did do a citywide survey around potential sales tax and or property tax items. So this is the second time in the last year or so that we have done some public opinion research within the city. So I'm going to go ahead and do the very most dangerous thing, which is try to share my screen here. Are we seeing some presentation? Are you seeing some survey data on the screen now?
Yes, we can see that. Okay. Thank you.
So we conducted the survey from October 6th through the 9th. It was a 300 sample. This is all a telephonic survey, which means everybody was called at their home phone or on their cell phone. We direct dial cell phones as required by law. This was all done by human beings, no AI, no push buttons, no computers, no text. This is all human-to-human interaction, which is still the gold standard of survey research. It has a margin of error of plus or minus 5.6% with a 95% confidence interval. What that means is that 95%, 95 out of 100 times, if we were to conduct this survey, every number would be within about 5 points higher or lower within the data there, which is a pretty standard set of the way we look at it. We also balance it to reflect what we anticipate sort of the overall electorate looks like. So if you look at like the state of Arizona, for example, we do have more younger voters registered to vote. We do have a pretty even division among Republicans, Democrats, unaffiliated voters. But in places like Kingman, we do see a slightly older electorate. We do see a slightly more conservative leaning electorate. So we do try to take that into account to give you the most accurate information possible. So we not only reflect the audience and make sure that we're looking at that, but we also look at people who have a history of voting in our elections. So we start with a couple of warm-up questions. Right direction, wrong direction. Do you think the city's headed in the right direction? Wrong direction. 49% think that the city is headed in the right direction, compared to about 27% in the total wrong direction. You can see a little bit more optimism among younger voters under the age of 39, and then a little bit of an uptick in the 50 to 64 range. When we tested this in February, what we found was an audience was about 50%. So we're right where we were in the past. If I were to do the direction of the country right now, it would be in the 30% range. Mostly when I do the direction of the state, it's in the low 40% range. Most municipalities are in that 49, 50 to 55% range. So Kingman's well within the range of what we see from the local government, but what we see is that local government is much more popular than sort of the other forms of elected government right now. We chalk that up to your local popularity as well as the nonpartisan nature of elections, and that has a big impact on the overall support as well. Top issue facing Kingman today, 26.7% say streets and transportation, 20.3% say jobs and the economy, 19.7% point to high costs and inflation. I will note that when we conducted this survey, and certainly surveys are always a snapshot in time, at this moment, when we conducted the survey in particular, gas prices had increased, and we did see in this survey as well as others, a higher awareness and concerns about high prices and high costs and inflation. It's up several points from the last time that we tested this. Younger voters in particular, 39 and under, were much more focused on sort of high cost and inflation. 40 to 49 emphasized jobs in the economy. 50 and older, as well as both zip codes that we measured, both said that streets and transportation were sort of the top issue that they see visiting the city. On the job performance front, what we see is about 20 or so percent think that the city is, that the mayor and council's overall job performance is excellent or very good, with another 41, almost 42% giving it an okay. So you can see about 2/3, 6 to 7 out of every 10 give a positive performance, okay or better, with the overall job performance there. Only about 22% giving it a poor or failing, with 15% saying they're undecided. So there's still an opportunity for improvement here. There's certainly some folks that haven't heard enough to give an overall performance rating, but 2/3 or so of respondents are pretty happy with the overall job performance. You can see that there's an uptick in the 30 to 39 range, as well as the 65 and older range there. On to statements, and this is where we get into some of the rec center sentiment. So before we went into the actual taxation and a potential GO bond, the first thing that we did is we measured a couple of questions. These were randomized and rotated to get an idea, just to make sure that we are getting an understanding of what people say, and we've measured it 2 different ways. So on the left there, you see the mean score, which is everybody who gives an opinion, it kind of gives it a star rating. So this is the first example of the Likert scale, the scale of 1 to 5. We use that quite a bit. You'll see that in the programs in just a minute in the projects. And then we also give you an total agree versus disagree score. So there is 52% of voters who agree there's a need for additional community gathering spaces in the Kingman area, compared to only 28% who disagree with that, which is very consistent with what your community survey said. Also, there's a need for new facilities for youth, sports, and recreational program in the Kingman area. 68% of the electorate agree with that statement, compared to only 15% who disagree with that. Now, there's a little bit of a difference, though, when you get into the funding of it. First, we also asked about, I would be interested in using the facility. 43%, almost 44% say yes, compared to about 38% say no. But when we ask them specifically, I would be willing to pay for a property, for a sports and recreation facility through a property tax levy, you can see about 31% say they agree with that statement compared to 55% who say no. So what we see here is that folks do see the need. 52% say they need more gathering spaces. 68% say that they need more places for youth sports and recreational program, and youth and teens in particular is a trend that we see through a lot of this data. But when it comes to the actual payment for it, 55% disagree with the notion that they'd be willing to pay for it through a property tax, which is how a GO bond is funded. Also, a fewer number of folks, I would be willing to pay to use a sports and recreation facility through a membership fee. 38% of respondents agreed with that compared to 47% who disagreed with that. So there's a little bit more optimism for a membership fee in particular, or a user fee, compared to the property tax. Any questions on that before I go to the actual bond question, the bond pretest?
Council? Nope, we're good, thank you.
Okay, so from there on, you may recall this, we did this fairly similarly in our previous survey. What we like to do is ask people a reflective of what the likely ballot language is going to be. There's things that have to be part of any sort of bond language. We saw this very similar in the property tax language. We saw this very similar in the sales tax language, because just like we saw already in the survey, if you ask people there's a need for additional recreation facilities, a higher number says yes. When you ask them, would you be willing to pay a property tax, a lower number says yes. But when you ask them, shall we issue and sell general obligation bonds in the amount of $85 million to design, acquire, approve, and construct parks and recreation facilities, including multi-purpose indoor sports and recreation facility, Sunbelt Park expansion, and golf course improvements, a yes vote has the effect of authorizing the city to issue bonds. A no shall have the effect of the city not authorized to issue or sell the bonds. We do that because that's the most accurate reflection. If the voter's going to see one thing over the course of the election, that's the item that they'd see. They'd see the ballot language itself. So we try to reflect that as best as that we can. And what we see is the initial pretest here has about 25.7% yes compared to 70.3% no. So we're definitely on the no side of things here. We asked in the previous survey in February, if given the option between a bond, a property tax, or a sales tax, about 33% of respondents said they prefer a bond. So we're a little bit below that at the outset here. You can see there's pretty much across the board no audience here, with the highest amount really in sort of that 50 to 64 at 60% no, and 65 and older at about 79% no. So at the outset here, while they recognize that there's a need and that they would like to see more things for youth, which is reflected in the projects we'll see momentarily, at the moment there is not a desire to go call for a bond election and pay the commensurate property tax that goes along with that. Next, we did a series of programs, and these were the different amenities that were tested through sort of the process, through some of the citizen outreach, through lots of different methods. We randomized and rotated these to get an idea of which ones really sort of rise to the top, and if there's anything that is impacting negatively the overall proposal. So this is on a scale, once again, of 1 to 5. 1 in this case meaning not at all important, to 5 meaning very important. The closer to get to 5, the better it is. Anything above sort of a 3 is considered, like a 3-star rating or above, like if you were to look at Yelp or anything else. Anything lower, certainly below 3, and the lower you go, the less regarded it is. So, for example, we did indoor athletic courts. That's 21% gave that a very important 3.06. We measured field house because some folks think those are sort of interchangeable, but there's a lot more efficacy and a lot more support for indoor sport courts than there is for a field house. So just in sort of the framing of things and in the discussion, the voter intensity for that is much lower for field house. Fitness amenities, only 16% gave that a very important compared to the indoor play space. 25% gave that a very important and gave that a 3.13. On the climbing wall, 2.61. Community space was near the top at 3.05 with 21% giving that very important. Again, we also tested meeting rooms. So there's probably some folks that believe that there's an interchangeability between community space and meeting rooms, but words matter. In this case, that community space aspect does significantly better. And it's funny also, community space does even slightly better than event space. So 3 different ways to kind of talk about the same item here. And some folks got event space first, other folks got community space first, and then, rotated around so that we're not including any bias here. The whole idea is to get in to see what impacts folks, what maybe motivates them. So of the 3, sort of the community space. So indoor athletic courts, community space would be the sort of 2 descriptions so far that do very well. But the biggest one that we saw on the next slide here is the teen center. So we talked about that there's the desire for the athletic and youth sports piece of it, and that is very much reflected in the notion of a teen center. 39% of respondents thought that was very important. It was the highest issue that we rated, gave it a 3.72, well above the mean score that we like to see. That was a very well regarded. Whereas where we do see a lot of fall off, and this may not be a surprise to some of you, but maybe to others it is, there is definite fall off or a lack of support for some of the golf course improvements. You can see golf course irrigation improvements at 2.05 with only 6% giving it very important. Golf course clubhouse renovation at 1.96 with only 6% giving that important. Banquet hall suffers a very similar fate at 1.89. So those sort of fall well below at the bottom of sort of the priority list here, whereas splash pads and walking trails are near the top. I know soccer fields was one, sort of that middle one there, Q24, that in the past had been a hot topic. It has cooled off a little bit, at least among the electorate. It's a 2.78 with only 12% giving that a very important. We do all that, I know I kind of went through them quickly, to provide you with these next 2 slides. These next 2 slides are really sort of the important ones to look through as you're making sort of decisions, as you move forward, as you're communicating with the community, as you look at this long term, what sort of rises to the top and what maybe falls to the bottom. And so as we look through this, you can see the teen center, splash pads, walking trails, indoor play space, and those indoor athletic courts and community space. They're really the high ranking ones. That's sort of the package or the items together that do better than most. Whereas you see sort of fall off in the different descriptions of the community space, and then a pretty significant fall off when you bring in some of the other items, like mentioning it as a field house or meeting rooms, irrigation improvements, or the banquet hall at the golf course. From there, we did what we like to say is called a reason test. And so we test statements of support and opposition to get an idea of what sentiment or what reasons motivating folks. And so you'll see in a moment, we're going to test sort of a general anti-tax sentiment, a general fixed income sentiment. And we test those sort of against the other things that we hear in the environment, some of the things that came up in some of the community surveys and others, to just sort of see how things stack up to against one another. So some people got positive first, other folks got negative first, but over the course of the survey, every single person got every single statement. So they all are getting all of the answers, but the surveys can feel very different to every person that takes it. What we find is the overall quality of life is a driving force. Allow more family-oriented activities, increase opportunities for teens and young professionals, and support for more community events. 59% agree with that statement versus only 24% who disagree. It's sort of the top rated motivation on the pro side, or on the reason what would motivate people to think that this is a positive idea. Tourism and economic development, there's some segments that think that that's a better idea, particularly sort of 49 and under. Younger voters understand sort of the destination for tourism, tournaments, events, and allowing residents to stay closer. Does a little bit better among younger voters, not so well among some of the older voters. The whole idea of hosting events at the golf course and or conserving water resources don't really motivate folks like maybe some folks maybe thought they would to make those renovations. I tested a pretty conservative message about it saves, reduces labor, increases efficiency, and improves playing conditions. That does better than sort of the hosting events notion of things, but still that only gets about 38% agree versus 43% disagreement. Now you finally stacking up sort of the full vision of sports, Sunbelt Sports Park, the splash pads, the additional fields, lighting, volleyball, basketball, trails, full vision for the project. A plurality, not quite a majority, agree with that, 46% compared to 33. And then this less than 50, the overall cost would be less than $50 a month, sort of just it's a pretty affordable way or reasonable costs for our quality of life. So quality of life for youth does well. It's a small price to pay for quality of life, doesn't do quite as well. But when you stack them up, the two sort of big drivers that we see is, there's clearly 70% agreed that inflation's out of control and now is not the time to be issuing bonds and committing to projects with growing price tags. Again, like I said, this was done during a period right now where gas prices are up and some other cost concerns are in the way. So that certainly is a driving force. There is a definite anti-golf course sentiment that we detect through here with 75% agreeing taxpayers should not be forced to spend more money on the golf course. And then, taxed enough already, 78%, probably the largest force here is we're really any sort of GO bond is up against, in this environment at this time, a pretty strong general anti-tax sentiment. The fact that we don't have a secondary property tax and we should keep it that way is a pretty strong motivator for folks. 78% agreed compared to 13% disagree. And then you have another 75% that agree that they live on a fixed income and they don't want to spend more money right now. So what we ultimately see here is that there is that desire, that push from the community. But when we talk to the people that would likely have to vote to pay for it, we're up against some pretty strong taxation concerns. We're up against some pretty strong inflationary concerns. And we're up against only less than 20% of the electorate having kids at home. So, it's a very low kid environment, despite the fact that this is a lot of kid-friendly or teen-friendly items. So we ask again at the end, just now that you've heard arguments both for and against, knowing just what you know right now, how do you stand? You can see the number does go up slightly to 28% yes compared to 66% no, but it is still 2-to-1 in opposition. You see a shift among some of the age groups here, an improvement of basically 39 and under improved some. The 50 to 64 category, which was a pretty pessimistic category in previous surveys, improved somewhat, but still only about 35% support. And you can see some more support in the 85409 portion of the electorate. So, not surprising to you, this is a pretty conservative overall electorate. Over half of the electorate considers themselves conservative. Only 18% of respondents had kids at home. So, at this environment right now, I wish I had better news. I like delivering good news, but that's why we do these surveys, is get an understanding of where things are at. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Council, any questions, comments? No? I think we are good. That's a great presentation and gave us what we were looking for. Maybe not the answers we were looking for, but the information we were looking to gather. So I appreciate the time, Paul.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a good evening. All right, moving on to call to the public. Comments from the public. Those wishing to address council should fill out request forms in advance. Comments from the public will be restricted to items not on the agenda with the exception of those on the consent agenda. There will be no comments allowed that advertise for a particular person or group. Comments should be limited to no longer than 3 minutes. The council may not respond to speakers during the call to the public. The council may direct the city manager to study the matter or request that the matter be placed on a future agenda. I do not have anyone. Do you have anyone?
No, ma'am.
All right. Moving on to consent. All matters listed here are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Council, does anyone have anything they would like to pull from consent? Councilor Dykens?
Aye.
Aye. All right, anybody else? I would also like to pull item D, and then I would also like to pull item J. All right, I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A through C, E, F, G, and H.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Item number D, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Counselor Ward because I will not be voting on this. I have a conflict of interest. Counselor Ward.
Approval of resolution number 5576, Black Rock subdivision, tract 6053-A, final plat, improvement plans, and financial assurances. A final plat for Black Rock tract 6053, phase A, to create 77 single-family residential lots on approximately 16.82 acres of land. Phase A is zoned residential, single-family, 6,000 square foot minimum lot size, R16. The subject property is located north of East Wallapai Mountain Road and east of Yavapai Drive. Includes APNs 321-19-006 and 007A. Applicant Mojave Engineering Associates Incorporated for Pioneer Title Agency LLC, trustee under Trust 9324, property owner. Staff recommends approval. Could I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Sorry, Jason, false alarm. All right, item I, approval of Grandview Pool remodel during the Arizona Division of Occupational Safety and Health, ADOSH inspection through the Voluntary Public Entity Partnership Program. Needed improvements were identified at the Grandview Pool. The design and construction for an upgrade to the Grandview Pool was included in Capital Projects Fund in the fiscal year 25-26 adopted budget and 5-year capital improvement plan with a budget of $700,000. This request is for renovation of the pool deck and heater at a cost of $454,579. A previous phase approved on September 16, 2025, and the final phase included in the subsequent item bring the total project cost to $658,187. Staff recommends approval. Counselor Dykens, you pulled this, and I concur to pull this.
Up front, I didn't have any problems with this until I got an email today, and it just brought some thoughts and questions to my mind. Between this one and also the next number, we have a total budget of $700,000. Understand what we're spending for, but is there any money budgeted in this amount for a slide, diving board, other amenities that would be appropriate for making that pool a great pool?
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, and Council. Thank you for asking these questions. There's not much left in there for that, but what we do have a plan for that. We're planning on taking it to our commission. We have $150,000 budgeted for playground equipment. And what we do with that, we recommend to our commission like 3 or 4 different things that we know need to be done. And so we're going to recommend to them, we're going to show them the other things that we need, but we're going to recommend that we come to you and get that money transferred out of there to put into the pool. We can't put diving boards in that pool because of it's shallow, too shallow for diving boards. I mean, I know they had diving boards all those years, but it's unsafe to have that. But we're looking at putting a climbing wall in the deep end where kids can climb on the rock wall and then they fall back into the pool. So it's safe enough to do that. And then we're going to look at putting a slide there that is fitting for that pool. So we do have a plan for it, but it's going to require coming back to you for approval of that.
Vice Mayor, with $150,000 budgeted for playground type stuff, are we taking away from other potential projects that you really did want? Or was this already in the plans for one of the options?
this wasn't in the plan for that, but, and, you know, our playgrounds, a lot of them are old, but we've made a lot of good progress with them. And we'd like to get a shade structure, say over the new zip line, things like that. And we send things like that to our commission, and then they vote what they feel is the best use of the funds that we have. So we've been putting the $150,000 each year, so this wasn't one of them, but how we feel, this has become pretty important. The money that we're going to be spending now in these two items is basically just to get the pool up and running for the year. If we don't do this and move on this fairly quickly, we won't be able to get the work done. As a matter of fact, you approved the pool liner a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, and we had to get that done to get the order put in to get it done in time. So all of this is just to get the pool up and functioning, because it won't function another year the way it is. So, but we do feel like it would be, our staff feels like it'd be worth taking that $150,000 and putting it into the pool to make it, you know, as good as it can be, because it is a great pool, and it's gets a lot of use by little kids and things like that. Very important. So we feel it's very important, and we can put the playground improvements that we're looking at. We feel like we can put them down another year. Let's let them go another year. So
I have nothing else.
All right, Counselor Dykens, we do have someone signed up to speak, so could you stay close in case
Sure.
we have additional questions for you? Donna Peterson, would you like to come up and speak? Hello, welcome.
Thank
State
you.
your name for me, please.
Thank you for allowing me to speak on this. I was surprised when I read in the Miner today that $658,187 would be spent out of the $700,000 budget, and that would not include any real amenities to the pool. I don't know if any of you had a chance to go down and look at the Grandview pool, but it is a bare bones pool. And there really isn't very much going on there except water. And I mean, that's fun for the kids, but just what we saw in the survey a few minutes ago, we're looking for things for the families and for the teens, for the community to be able to do. And at this point, the Grandview pool isn't very appealing. Now, I understand that $150,000 could be spent on it, but again, that depends on the commission approving it and coming back to you to be approved. And then how long will that take? So I would ask that the council really try to include some amenities to the budget for that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? No? All right, thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Anyone have any other questions for Mr. Mearsman?
I do.
Yes, Counselor Savage?
Mr. Mearsman, have you had an estimate at all on what it would cost to totally replace the pool?
we do not have that. It would be
It'd be a lot
several
of money.
$1 million.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything? No? All right, thank you, Mr. Mearsman.
If I could,
Yes.
I think if we get this to our commission and get it to you, we will have time to get the climbing wall and a slide put in. So, like I said, this stuff is just important to get it functioning, so we do have a pool this summer, which obviously very important to us.
Sure.
Thank you.
And we trust that will come back timely.
Yep, thank you.
Uh-huh. All right. I will entertain a motion on item I.
So move.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, item J, Grandview Pool electric upgrades. During the Arizona Division of Occupational Safety and Health, ADOSH inspection through the Voluntary Public Entity Partnership Program, needed improvements were identified at the Grandview Pool. The design and construction for an upgrade to the Grandview Pool was included in the Capital Projects Fund in fiscal year 25-26. Adopted budget and a 5-year capital improvement plan with a budget of $700,000. This request is for the electrical renovation of the pool, deck, and heater for $70,000. A previous phase approved on September 16th, 2025, and the additional phase in previous item bring the total project cost to $658,187. Staff recommends approval. I know you were signed up to speak on this as well, Donna. Did you want to come back up here? Okay, all right. I will entertain a motion to approve J.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to action item 4A, City of Kingman billboard agreements with the Kingman Chamber of Commerce. In 1982, the City of Kingman and the Kingman Chamber of Commerce entered into 3 leasing agreements under which the Chamber managed the city's 3 billboards. One of the 3 billboards was located on Highway 93 and was removed in 2024 to make way for the I-11, I-40 traffic interchange. The other 2 billboards are located along I-40. The city's agreements with the chamber have renewed automatically every year. However, either party has the option to terminate the agreement with a 30-day notification. Around 2000, the chamber began entering into management agreements with the Lamar Company, LLC, to operate the 3 billboards for a commission. The chamber's agreements with Lamar conclude between November 2025 and January 2028. The Economic Development Department proposes to cancel the agreements with the chamber and manage the billboards internally, which may include utilizing a billboard management company. Staff recommends approval. Welcome, Josh.
Vice Mayor, members of council, and will IT turn on the presentation, or do you want to come do that, Annie, so I don't mess it up? Thank you. Pull this back to the beginning. So I'm going to reiterate a lot of what you just read, but in a little bit more detail to give you some background on how we got to where we are today. So the City of Kingman in the late 70s, the Innkeepers Association came to the city and asked to put in a tax, sales tax for collecting taxes at the hotels to help with tours and promotions. The city used some of those funds early on to put up these 3 billboards coming into Kingman. They'd budgeted about $50,000. That's about $195,000 in today's money, and got all 3 billboards put up. So it was a pretty good deal. Right away, the city and the Chamber of Commerce entered into an agreement to have the chamber operate those billboards or manage them, and it made a lot of sense. The chamber was operating the tourism office on behalf of the city at the time. They were the major proponent of bringing people in and advertising our tourism promotions for the city. And that agreement was an annual agreement. It had a 30-day clause that we could come in and we could cancel that agreement any time from either party. So the chamber actually operated this through their visitor director. So that was an arm of the Chamber of Commerce. They sold those ads to member businesses in the hospitality industry, and then those funds went back into supporting their tourism promotion efforts. So a lot of the ads, you'll see this is one of the billboards from a news article in the 90s. This is a letter that was sent out seeking people to advertise on the Kingman billboard. So it had "Welcome to Kingman, heart of Route 66," and then they'd have their little component next to that. You'll see this is what one of the billboards looked like. The one that actually was torn down where the I-11, I-40 interchange is now. This was what was left on that when they pulled the skin. So it gives you kind of a window in the past to what those billboards looked like. Then the chamber in the early 2000s began to contract with Lamar to do the management of the billboards. It made a lot of sense. Lamar was in the business, having a business that had the connections and be able to sell those, but it disassociated it from the tourism portion of the chamber. The one thing that I think that maybe was an oversight with the chamber leadership, and this is many CEOs ago, so this has nothing to do with our current chamber leadership, but the lease agreement between the city, or between the chamber and Lamar, did not match the terms between the city and the chamber. So we got in a situation where there was a 10-year lease that was auto-renewing, and you had different CEOs that inherited those and didn't know the history. And so when they came in and when it was time to renew, maybe they didn't know and they didn't know to renegotiate those terms. So here's just some examples of, this is the one that actually came down. And over that time, the chamber did continue to use the face of the billboard entering into the Kingman to promote the community, to welcome people into the city. The backside, as people left Kingman, that's what was sold and they earned commissions on. When tourism separated from the chamber and eventually became part of the city, that agreement didn't float with us. It stayed at the Chamber of Commerce. This is another billboard, or the backside of that billboard that came down. This is the front side of the billboard that's on I-40 on the east side coming into town, and then this is the back side. This is by Yavapai Street. And then out by Nucor, this is the billboard, and this is the back side of the billboard. Now, of course, we ran into situations where lights would be out, or there'd need to be some maintenance, and since we had a handshake agreement with the chamber to continue to update the messaging of the billboards entering in Kingman, but we were not the operator. We did not have the authority to go and contact Lamar directly and get those mitigated. So when we'd have council members or commissioners ask, hey, I see lights are out on the billboard, can we get that fixed? We in turn then go to the chamber, hey, we see the lights out, can we get those fixed? Then they go to the Lamar, we got the lights out, we need them fixed. So it's just created a little bit of a cumbersome process in making sure that those are updated and that they're maintained. Beyond that, every time that we would put a new skin on, that's just coming out of our budget. We're not able to utilize the funds from the advertising on this other side to help pay for the upgraded messaging on those billboards, and that's something we feel we could do if we brought those in-house or renegotiated and restructured that so that we could utilize the funds earned from the billboard to help cover the cost of the messaging on the billboard. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. This is one of the things that we're looking at with the new interchange. We do have a new billboard. Hopefully it's going to be going up along 93 to continue to bring people into Kingman, hopefully into our downtown. And so we're just looking at how is it we're going to structure that when that goes back up. How do we make sure that we've got the ability to maintain that messaging?
All right, thanks, Josh. Counselors, any questions for Josh? Yes, Counselor Staley.
In the description, it talks about bringing it in-house, but that you might potentially use somebody else to manage it. Can you talk a little bit more about what that really means?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways that this could look. It could be the best that we continue working with Lamar or another sign company like Lamar. We also have the option that if we want to just cover the maintenance or cover the selling of the ads and the marketing and collecting those revenues, we can always contract with a sign company to perform the maintenance, make the skins, put the skins up. So there's a couple different ways that we could look at doing that. In some component, we're going to need to partner with a sign company to do at least the maintenance, but it's potentially going to be better for us to, instead of managing in-house, we might want to manage that with them. But in any way that we look at it, we would like to structure that in a way that we're generating revenue. It's not causing a cost to us.
What do you foresee happening? Do you think that your office could handle all of it? Or are you hoping to have somebody else take that?
I think we're going to look into that. I think we're in a better position to handle that in-house than the chamber was when they started working with Lamar.
Okay.
And we may at the beginning decide that we want to try that route and it may work great, or we may learn that, this really is something where we need to have the expertise of an outside company that has those contacts and the channels to make those sales, and we may generate more revenue doing that or have more consistent means of revenue. When we're looking at it, we know that billboards out there in this area right now, per side, per month, the generation of revenues anywhere from 1,000 to about 2,500. So if we were looking at doing something similar to what has been going on in the past with the two billboards that are up, if we keep one side we're messaging, welcome to Kingman, and the other side we mark it out, the gross revenues could be anywhere from 42,000. If we look at kind of a low end and maybe a little bit more likely, but we know we're going to have some months we don't have anything sold. Add a third billboard into that, you're increasing that. And then could be sometimes you really don't need to have marketing of Kingman. You could sell more ads, and then we could look at what's the opportunity cost in selling those ads, and then maybe putting that to other programs. So it really is an opportunity that we could use to generate funds.
You must have known that was my next question. Okay, thank you.
All right, Counselor Jenkins.
Did I understand what you said, that the one that was taken down because of all the road construction is going to be put back?
So we've got some negotiations on the street side with ADOT and looking at what the value of that billboard is. There's a lot of different components to that. It's not just putting a billboard back up and what it would cost to build a new one, but we're also looking at the traffic volumes on the potential locations of where that billboard could go up. And if we're not seeing the same traffic concentrations in the new locations, we might be asking for higher compensation, maybe a couple billboard locations. So yes, all that's in the works, and that's something we're definitely interested in having messaging going back up on that side of town.
And then not so much a question, but a comment. One of those slides on the reverse is advertising for a police department that is not Kingman. Just a comment, don't you think it would be beneficial for our own community to be advertising when we are looking for police officers or even fire department personnel, to advertise rather than a competitor?
Absolutely, and I should also note in here, currently these are still under contract with the chamber. We have no authority to do anything. I'm sure Becky, she's here tonight, if you have questions, would work with us in any way we can. But that billboard is actually, the contract with Lamar and the chamber has ended on that one. So we've got opportunities to do something now. We have the one that is on I-40 coming into town east. That one's still under contract for about 3 more years. So there's, these different billboards, we have different timings where they're coming to an end, and there's really nothing we can do about that until we decide what that relationship with the chamber is and if we're terminating this agreement.
Anything else? All right, I have a few things, Josh.
Yes.
First of all, I would have liked more financial information in our backup, so forgive me if I'm going to possibly catch you off guard. What is the fiscal impact to the chamber?
Becky, would you like to come and answer that?
Stay close, Josh. Welcome, Becky.
Hi, Vice Mayor and Council. The financial impact with all 3 billboards, as it originally was about $18,000 a year is what we brought in from that. With the one that went down recently, the one that went down was the big money maker. We're down to around $5,500 a month now. So,
Okay.
or $5,500 a year, I'm sorry.
A year. Okay.
So it was a significant decrease.
All right. I think that's my only question
Okay.
for the chamber. So Josh, I know we have JJ from Lamar online if we should need her.
Yes.
What is the current cost to manage one of those billboards? I know being the city, if we take it in-house, we've got to put it out to bid and go through the whole process. But could you tell me what the cost is?
So if we were to have the billboards in-house, for instance, I know that we'd have the electrical cost. That's going to be about $30 per side per month on average. So if you've got the 4 sides with the existing billboards, it's going to be a little shy of $1,500 a year is what we're calculating that cost would be. Also, I should note that there are some components on the billboards that do belong to Lamar, some lights, some gripping items and things. So there would be a cost for replacing those. I don't know what all of those costs would be, but we did look into, what would the cost be for adding the lights back in, upgrading those to LED. For instance, the side that we have on the city side right now, those are not LED side. Those are not LED lights. There's a different kind of light bulb that utilize more electricity, so we would probably want to upgrade those. But to do both of the existing billboards So that's 4 sides. You're going to be looking at somewhere around $7,000 to $9,000 to upgrade all of that lighting and add that back in.
7,000 to 9,000 apiece?
No, for the four
Oh,
four
for all
sides.
4, both sides?
Correct.
Okay, all right. But that doesn't include the new one that's in there?
That doesn't include the new one, but hopefully that one going up would come with all of the upgraded attachments instead of something that we'd have to retroactively.
And then the plan for advertising is to advertise, one side would be city advertisement, and then one side would be paid advertisement?
So that's the model that we've operated off of. I think we have a lot of opportunities that we can continue that model. There's times we might want to use both sides for community marketing. There's times that maybe we could use both sides for generating revenue if the cost opportunities is higher, that we would want to use those funds for something else.
Okay,
But that's the model that has been used since they've been up.
okay. And then just because JJ called in, are you there, JJ?
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening. The cost for replacement that would need to be done to replace Lamar's equipment, is Josh on with his figures?
He said $9,000. Is that what he said?
I think he said about 7. 7 to 9.
$7,000 for the equipment. I would have to double check that. I don't have those numbers. I was just told to join you guys and find out what the city's, what their interest was, and get your questions, and then I would go ahead and get those answered for you guys at a later time, if that's possible.
Okay, thank you. Those were all the questions that I had for you, Josh. I would like to request, council, I would like to go into executive session for some legal conference. I would like to make a motion that we go into executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we will be back. All right, we're out of executive session. We are on, lost my place. We are on action item 4A. I will entertain a motion by council.
I make a motion to move the contract away from the chamber and bring it back to the city.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? I am a nay. All right, we're moving on to item 4B, approve and award bids for opioid settlement grants. On July 1st, 2025, the city of Kingman opened its first opioid settlement grants formal solicitation, which provides funding to Kingman-based nonprofit organizations, school districts, and incorporated public entities that are capable of providing and supporting opioid abatement strategies. During the proposal window, city staff received 6 proposals. However, only 5 of the proposals met all the required elements. A 5-member evaluation committee discussed and scored each proposal based on the criteria outlined in the grant program guidelines. Based on responses and total scores, staff is recommending the following awards with amounts identified to be made to: number 1, Revive Behavioral Health Incorporated for $100,000. Number 2, Cornerstone Mission Project Incorporated for $97,075. Number 3, Hope Lives Vive la Esperanza, $25,000. Number 4, Taros Health, $25,000. And number 5, M-Step, $25,000. There will be a fiscal impact of $272,075 to the Opioid Settlement Monies Fund over a 2-year period. Staff recommends approval of the award. Hello, Ms. Moline.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. Well, in last February, the council did approve of an opioid settlement monies grant program, and we have been working over the last few months to get a solicitation finally out, get some interest. And as you shared, and I don't need to go into any details about the process, you covered that very well in your summary, Vice Mayor, but we had 6 interested proposers that submitted their programs for funding, and of those, 5 actually met all of the criteria. I actually have in the audience this evening almost all of the proposers here to talk a little bit about the programs that council would ultimately be approving if the staff recommendation is approved. So if you are okay with us having each of the individuals or the representatives come up and share a little bit about their program, they would love to do so.
I think that would be a great idea.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Mullin.
Wonderful. We'll just go top to bottom, and we'll start with Revive.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Kristen Ott. Good afternoon, Vice Mayor, council members, city manager. On behalf of Revive Behavioral Health, I'd like to say thank you to the city manager and Tim Walsh and Tina for recommending our organization as a potential recipient of the opioid settlement grant for 2026. I'd also like to, again, thank you. They were both diligent in researching our organization prior to recommending us as a recipient for this grant, which I greatly appreciated them coming on site and really looking at the quality of the organization and the services being provided. We've been servicing Mojave County now for 5 years, and we've been servicing Kingman specifically for about 8 months now with an all-female program, and all of our males are being serviced in Bullhead City. It's extremely important to Revive that we not only provide quality behavioral health residential recovery services to the Kingman community, but that we are also diligent with the dollars received from the city of Kingman to assist the Kingman community to the best of our ability in their opioid recovery journey. With the assistance of the opioid grant funds, Revive Behavioral Health will have additional resources to assist the Kingman residents in their recovery journey and assist them further in leading a happier and healthier life. So I'm, as a Kingman native, I'm very invested in this community and the health of the community and assisting with the issues that we've seen grown over the past several years. So thank you from Revive Behavioral Health for considering us, and thank you for Tim Walsh and Tina for coming to visit us on site. I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Kristen. Any questions or comments from council? Yes, Councilor
I have a
Dyken.
question. This money, if awarded, is it all staying in Kingman, or is it being split with Bullhead since you are down there too?
No, these funds would be specifically for Kingman residents. However, if they're females, they'll be serviced in our Kingman facility, and if they're males, they would be serviced in our Bullhead City facility, as those genders are separate, but they would have to have a Kingman address to receive those funds. And how we propose that is if we service a high access population, we do have a few private pay, but what we see is sometimes the health plans, the residents might benefit from some additional days, and the health plans will cap out the amount of days that they'll pay for them to receive counseling services in our facility. So if we feel and the resident feels they could use those additional days to improve their recovery journey, then we could use these funds to give them those additional days. We also find that some residents maybe don't qualify for access, but also don't have the funds to have private insurance, so they fall right in that gray area. And so if that's identified, then these funds could be utilized to help them get the services they're needing.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Kristen.
Okay, thank you.
Now we have Joey with Cornerstone Mission Project.
Hello.
Welcome, Joey.
So on behalf of Cornerstone Mission, we want to thank you guys for the opioid settlement funds. We're doing a Joey program, Justice, Opportunity, Empowerment, and You. It's helping people impacted by opioid and substance abuse and just in involvement to rebuild our communities. Your guys' support allows us to do all that. We just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Joey? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
We have Melissa with Taros Health.
Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you. Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. I'm Melissa Register. I'm the regional manager with Taros Health here in Mojave County. We do service the Kingman areas and related areas as well as the Bullhead City areas. However, the funding that if granted to us today would remain here in Kingman, as my crisis to recovery team predominantly works out of the Kingman office. The basic history of Taros Health here in Mojave County is that we provide mobile crisis services. Crisis funding in the state of Arizona is 24 hours long, and that's it. And what we found is folks who are experiencing a substance-related crisis need something far more than 24 hours of care and consideration, and we're looking to create a warm hand to help bind people into longer-term care, help reduce barriers to getting them to those things such as transportation or maybe a birth certificate to obtain an ID to get access, those types of things, and that's how we'll be utilizing the funding. We also have started an intensive outpatient program, which is 9 hours of group-related treatment from our current facility on Airway, that we'll be working with substance abuse offenders there as well. Not just offenders, but substance abuse folks who need that type of support. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Melissa. Any questions, council? Thank you.
And last, Bob DeVries with MSTEP.
Welcome, Bob.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. Appreciate being considered for funding with the opioid settlement funds. And ironically, some of the conversation here tonight was talking about things for kids to do. Well, part of our program that we're proposing over the 2 years is we'll be partnering with the Boys and Girls Club as well as other organizations to hold a Hobbies Not Habits event, teaching kids healthy habits, healthy hobbies that are available. We all hear there's nothing for kids to do in Kingman. There are a lot of things, and the more we can expose them to those, we can hopefully get them on the right path. And some of those funds will be used to help offset costs. If the family can't meet the costs involved with it, we will be able to provide that as well. And secondly, it allows us to continue our community outreach in making people aware, trainings that we will be conducting, community events where we're distributing locking devices to make sure that opioids and other medications and substances within the home are locked up and kept out of the reach of children. And the main reason for our push there is through a community survey that we did. We found that 68% of the households that have marijuana or other substances in the homes are not monitoring those substances. And as you can imagine, the number one place that kids are getting them is from the home. So the more we can do that, the better and safer it will be for our youth, as well as giving them exposure to healthy habits. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions from council? All right, thank you very much. All right, with that, oh, excuse me.
No, it's quite all right, Vice Mayor. I just wanted to share Hope Lives' program summary. Representative was not able to attend, so I'm just going to read a brief excerpt out of their submission. So while they already provide transportation services, through this grant, they're going to purchase a used dedicated passenger van, and it will also cover some of their staff time for the unbillable transportation and increase capacity to serve an additional 80 to 90 justice-involved individuals annually. It will also ensure that more people living with opioid use disorders, substance use disorders, and serious mental illness can reliably access treatment, recovery programs, and essential services.
All right, great.
Great, thank you. And with that, if there are no other questions, then staff would recommend approval.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Moline. All right, I will entertain a motion on item 4B.
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? If we could, council, get a photo with all of our recipients down at the podium. If you all could come up, that would be great. We'd love that.
You guys can line up right in front here. And we'll stand behind you. Come on up here. Yeah, come on. No, you're the important one. No, I'm not. No. We're just filling in the back.
Kicked out. Kicked out. Congratulations. Yes, of course. Yes, great work for you.
Thank you guys so much. It's a huge help, huge help.
Of course. Of course. Thanks for hanging around. Thank you.
Thank you for what you, thank you.
Vice Mayor, if I may, just to make a note.
Yes.
I think it's amazing the number of programs that we have here in town and all that they do to support our residents. But I also wanted to just point out that these funds were from the opioid settlement fund. So these are not general funds from the city of Kingman. These were funds that we received from the state for this very purpose, to be able to support these types of programs. So thank you.
Yes, good point. Thank you. Happy to help our community. All right, no public hearings this evening. Item number 5, we're moving on to item number 6, department reports. Presentation on the current state of water leak or leaks and ongoing mitigation efforts. Welcome, Keelan.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys tonight and present on behalf of the hardworking men and women of the Utilities Division, and for that matter, Public Works. I want to take a quick minute to thank Michelle and Hannah for all their hard work in gathering data and assisting with building both presentations we have prepared for you tonight. And I'll say this, anything that you like out of the presentation are a credit to them, and anything that you don't is probably my fault. So with that, I also want to just take a quick minute to recognize one of our water operators who unfortunately cannot be with us tonight, as he is recovering from a traumatic injury sustained in a recent accident. We certainly offer our prayers and support as he progresses through his journey. So, and with that, we will start with our first presentation. So the first several slides are going to be a recap of what we discussed back in April. And then I think slides 9 and 10 are some new additions that will kind of really help set the stage on kind of what we're facing and what we're up against. I know this is a repeat. We went through this back in April, but we'll just touch briefly on it again. This kind of outlines what the customer's responsibility is as far as the water service lateral, and what the city's responsibility is. So the city's responsible for everything up into the meter, which is typically at the property line, and then the customer is responsible from everything from the meter to the house. And if I might add this too, if there's any questions as we go through this, you can certainly stop me, and then there'll be an opportunity for questions at the end as well. These are the leak types that we see, and predominantly, nothing's changed since April really. Predominantly all of our, or a good majority of our leaks, I should say, are service line leaks. 1 inch or 3/4 to 1 inch polyethylene pipe. You probably remember this. We went through this as well back in April. During the spring and summer of 2022, the city of Kingman experienced a higher than normal number of leaking water pipes. Excuse me. In July, the Kingman Water Team and AJT Solutions partnered to investigate and research the possible causes for the increase. The team started with a compilation and analysis of leak data, infrastructure, characteristics, and environmental factors to distill and define potential root causes. After this analysis, the effort moved to research of expert sources and industry knowledge, basis of professional publications, AWWA standards, published research papers, Plastic Pipe Institute articles, and abstracts related to a range of potential root causes present in the Kingman system. Finally, result of the research were used to develop a menu of opportunities for improvement, as well as noted ongoing actions to continue the fact-finding and continuous improvement effort. Again, we'll just touch on this, but nothing's really changed. Everything that we're seeing, again, is related to those 3/4 to 1 inch polyethylene pipe that's somewhere in the age range of about 20 years old. okay, we start to get into some new stuff here. So, in fiscal year 2024, water operations crews responded to 2,558 leak-related calls for service. In fiscal year 25, we've seen an uptick in that we responded to about 3,133 leak-related calls for service. And in FY 26, which we're about 3 months into it, maybe a little more, we've responded to 1,582 leak-related calls for service just since July 1st. For comparison, we reached out to the city of Phoenix just because they're a much larger municipality, and we wanted to see how we stacked up against a large municipality. And then we also reached out to some comparable sized municipalities, City of Havasu and City of Bullhead. What we found was in fiscal year 2024-2025, City of Phoenix completed approximately 800 leak and main break repairs, with a distribution staff of 209 team members, and they have 452,000 metered accounts. The City of Havasu completed approximately 142 leaks and main break repairs. And their sample analysis that they gave us was from October of 2023 to September of 2024, so still a full year, but wasn't necessarily, didn't align with our fiscal year. But nonetheless, they have a staff of 41 distribution team members, and they have they have 33,000 water system accounts, so slightly more than us. We're at about 24,000. In FY 24-25, City of Bullhead completed approximately 897 leaks and main break repairs with a distribution staff of 21 team members and 22,000 water system accounts. And so just to kind of put that in perspective, so obviously we've talked a little bit about the calls for service that we've responded to and the number of leaks that we've mitigated. And we currently have a staff of 14 distribution operators. Again, 90+% of the leaks we encounter are 3/4 to 1 inch polyethylene pipe. And still to this day or to this presentation, very few are mainline breaks. I'm certainly not trying to jinx it, but I know what you're probably thinking. I probably should have changed the colors. They might blend. Well, I guess you can differentiate between them. This is essentially the data that we talked about on the previous page, just depicted in a bar graph. And you can see, so we had 3 fiscal years that we're including on there, which is the numbers, like I say, on the prior page. And then in comparison, so the first chart is specific to leaks, or the amount of leaks that each municipality repaired. And then the second graph is the meter count, or customer metered accounts. And then, of course, the third and final graph there is related specifically to distribution personnel. Water leak assessment and repair process. So typically when either Public Works or utility billing or dispatch receives a call, obviously the notification is received. The location is dispatched for assessment and prioritization. And then water ops crews will respond and mitigate the leak by typically by installing a repair band or replacing a section of pipe. And again, this is done just because of the volume of calls that we receive. I'm sure we'll get to that, but we're talking about full line replacements as opposed to just making a repair or sectioning in a piece of pipe. The location is then placed on our replacement list and followed up with a full line replacement, including asphalt sidewalk patch if necessary, either by our JOC contractor or one of our internal crews. And I think I made mention in our last presentation that at one point we had even reassigned one of our wastewater operations staff to do just service line replacements. And unfortunately, the volume has continued to outpace even what, we could keep up with adding or pulling that additional crew from the wastewater side. To date, we have replaced or installed approximately 350 service lines. We talked a little bit about this before, so I'll touch on it briefly. Pipe specifications, I think, is certainly important to recap for the simple fact that we no longer allow that type of polyethylene pipe in our system. The standard now is either Municipex or Schedule 80 PVC. We were talking a little bit about budget last time, but I wanted to keep this in there. We have redirected funds from distribution line replacement to service line replacements. We've budgeted for a third operation service crew, and we have hired three new individuals, but in the process we've lost 2, so we're in the process of getting that other crew onboarded and then hopefully filling those other 2 positions that we've lost as well. Asset management system, I think we touched on this in the prior presentation as well, but actually we're looking to share an asset management system with Jack's team. So that would be, for lack of a better term, a centralized asset management system for what Jack's team does, and then we would piggyback off that from utilities. They offer a utilities module, for lack of a better term, as well. Capital improvement plan for FY 2026, we estimated what a large line replacement project would look like, focusing on pavement preservation districts 3 and 4. Those are the paved press districts that Jack's crew's been busy chip sealing. This would replace approximately 2,200 service lines at an estimated cost of $10 million. And I think we talked a little bit about that before too, but we're also, active in trying to find grant options and, of course, WIFA financing or other alternatives. Let's see. With that, that's certainly our contact information. I'm sure anybody that's called in a water leak has utilized one of these numbers before. And then, of course, there's the online option as well. And I'll do my best to answer any questions.
Thank you, Keelan. Questions, Councilor Dykens?
I have a few. On one of your previous slides, it's obvious that Kingman, that's the one. Very good. The leaks in Kingman are huge in compared to Havasu or even Phoenix or Bullhead. And you said that our lines are 20 years old or potentially even older. What about Bullhead, Phoenix, and Havasu? Have they just gone through a huge replacement of water lines, or did we just get a really, really bad batch when we put them in?
Oh, thank you for the question, Councilman Dykens. City of Phoenix, it's my understanding, changed their regulations some time ago and did a large replacement program. And I think, to my knowledge, they are copper exclusive, so different material. Excuse me. City of Bullhead is probably the next closest municipality that's experiencing something similar to what we are, but they're a third, at least, currently. They also are seeing their breaks mainly are 3/4 inch to 1 inch polyethylene pipe. And to your question, there's a number of municipalities out there. There's a number of articles out there, where municipalities all across the United States are experiencing very similar issues with polyethylene pipe. I think when you're talking about Phoenix specifically, and even Havasu, I think that they may not be copper exclusive, but they have a number of copper service lines in their system. That's why, several years ago, I'm just going to say it was probably 4 to 5 years ago, we changed our standards because we started to see a slight increase back then, and we were trying to get out ahead of it. Unfortunately, there's just so much of that stuff in the ground.
When it comes to repairs, you talk about replacing the service line versus putting a clamp on it. How many man hours and let me change this. How many hours versus how many people does it take to do a clamp versus doing a service line?
In most cases, it's substantially less. There's never, there's never a leak that is the same, right? But to your question, it takes our guys probably less than an hour in most cases to put on a repair band. And I want to emphasize this. The repair bands were never supposed to be temporary, right? They're supposed to last, however, whatever the age of the pipe is, or however long the pipe is supposed to last, which I think polyethylene was 40 to 50 years when, they were producing it, or at least that was the claim. And like I say, we're seeing those premature failures at 20 years. But so just to put it in perspective, over the summer, we were fixing up to current somewhere over 100 leaks per week, typically, with two-man crews. So with that, 45 minutes to an hour to go and put a repair band or a repair clamp on, versus 4 hours to maybe 8 hours to do a full line replacement. We just wouldn't be able to keep up with the volume at that pace.
So obviously it's quicker and cheaper to put a band on than to replace the line. But on a few streets that I drive on, at least, I see a band get put on, and within very, very short time, as in maybe even 24 hours, it's leaking just on one side or the other, I'm guessing, where the band is, because it's coming out of the ground at the same place. So where does it equal out, or actually is cheaper and quicker to actually just replace the line versus multiple repairs with the band? The cost equal,
Yeah, no, and I appreciate the question, Councilman Dykens, and I can offer you this. When City Manager Walsh came on board, the direction that we received from him was, if it leaks once, it goes on the repair list, right? We have held to that. The problem is there's such a backlog of lines that have leaked 2, 3, and 4 times, right? So with that, I think I made the comment in our last presentation that ideally, what I'd like to see is our contractor would, at some point, would be able to catch up with us, right? In other words, the backlog of the ones that have leaked multiple times have been taken care of, and now, he's able to follow up with it behind us and fix the ones that have leaked a single time. Unfortunately, we're just not there, because you can see, just in the past 3 years, we're somewhere up around 9,000 service lines that we've had leaks on. So anyway, that's been a challenge for us, because to your point, ideally, recognizing the problem that that we have with PE certainly makes sense to go in and replace it after it leaks once. But like I say, we're just not there yet.
Please don't take all these questions as I'm picking on your guys, because they're doing as good of a job as possible, addressing them as quickly as possible. I understand that, but it it also appears that it's like the dog chasing its own tail. And where is it financially feasible to stop doing the bands and going with a full repair?
Yeah, no, and I'll say this, and you've heard me say it before, but I'll certainly say it again. I think that what those crews accomplish with such a small crew is really tremendous. I mean, the amount of hours that they put in and the hard work that they do, that's no small feat in and of itself. With that being said, to kind of put it in perspective, a replacement costs about $2,500 to $4,500. With that, we've got about $350,000 budgeted, and that's what we've budgeted the past couple years for. So you can kind of back your way into what that looks like as far as replacements goes, right? I mean, you're probably going to get about 120 service line replacements per year. And we've got to try to be strategic. We could go out and spend that $350,000 within the first month of you guys adopting the new budget. But we try to be strategic about it because, we wouldn't have any money to address the service lines that come up the rest of the year. And I was optimistic, I think we all were, that maybe we would start to see the trend go the other direction. At least at this point, it hasn't yet.
Counselor Staley?
Thank you.
Keelan, I wanted to ask you about this budget proposal for, it would cost $10 million to replace 2,200 service lines. Can you tell me a little bit about what would that look like? You would hire maybe a couple contractors. Would they be able to knock out a project like that in a year? And does that include replacements and fixing the streets, which would surely get destroyed in a project like this?
It would. We did take into account, street replacement. It's a best kind of high-level estimate, for budgetary purposes, rather. And to your point, yeah, we would hire a contractor or multiple contractors to do that, because it's certainly not a small task for anybody. You would have to certainly have the staff and the resources available to accomplish what we're looking to accomplish for that big of a project. But yeah, it would include, in instances where pavement needs replaced or sidewalk needs replaced, it factored in that as well.
Okay, and 3 and 4, just going off of my memory, those are the older areas where we're having the worst occurrences or the most leaks, or?
No, that's a great question. They're certainly the larger areas, and we do see a lot of leaks in those areas. To be honest with you, I think it was back in February of 23 when we initially did our very first presentation. Right, we presented council with a heat map. Because initially we were trying to pin it down. Is it is it subject to one particular area or one particular pressure zones? And the answer to that is not. It's all over. But those two districts are certainly the largest and have the most probably polyethylene pipe in that age range. Mm-hmm. But we see the leaks all over, not just in 3 and 4. But we figured that would be a good start because it aligned with Jack's PavePres projects. And we could go in and fix water lines and then repair the pavement.
So really what you're saying is you need about $20 million to truly replace and fix them all.
Well, I won't say that.
Okay. More than
we were 22. We were using 2,200 service lines as our estimate, right? Based off of about $4,500 to replace each service line. To put it in perspective, that's about 10% of our system.
Okay.
We've got 24,000 service lines throughout our system.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that.
Counselor Ward?
I asked for this report.
Yes, sir.
And I did it, not to put you on the spot, but just so that everybody understands the severity of what we got.
Yes, sir.
And the cost to mitigate that. And I appreciate the report. Thank you. You guys do a heck of a job. It's just, you can only do what you can do with the money and the equipment and people you have.
Thank you, Councilman Ward.
I appreciate the report too. It sounds like we need a polyethylene recovery fund. We need to go after those factories and those manufacturers that sold us bad goods. But yes, your crews work very hard. I see them all over the city. I know that they're working hard and trying to mitigate. It's like playing a game of whack-a-mole, right? Everywhere in the city. So we do appreciate you and we appreciate the hard work. And the report was very informational. So
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
did you have anything, Councilman Savage? All right, we'll move on to report on water usage at city buildings. That is you again, Keelan.
Perfect, thank you. Is that you or IT? Thank you. I believe Councilman Dykens asked for this report on facilities water consumption comparison. This one's only 5 slides, so it should go a little bit quicker. Kind of an overview of the next couple slides. The following slides depict total water usage and build amount specific to each facility, comparing summer and winter months, resulting in an estimated irrigation cost for locations in fiscal year 2024-2025. And Tina's team, Michelle specifically, was certainly instrumental in helping us put this together. The locations that we were asked to look at was the City Complex, Fire Station 21, Benelli House, and the old courthouse and the new courthouse. In the next couple slides, you'll see some graphs, much like the other presentation. These locations don't have dedicated irrigation meters, so we did our best to try to extract out that data based off what we were seeing kind of in historical trends, as far as when we noticed that water increase to start, and we're associating that as most likely to be predicated from irrigation. So for the city complex specifically, through March and September, had about 82,960 gallons, that's total, and at an estimated monthly irrigation bill cost of $628.06. So again, that's what we were able, that's our best estimate of what we were able to extract out from the total bill cost. Estimated irrigation usage cost for Fire Station 21 for the same months, 42,200 gallons at an estimated monthly irrigation build cost of $317.60. And then you'll see, I didn't put the numbers on here just because they're so minor for the Benelli House, the old courthouse, and the new courthouse, but we can certainly talk a little bit more about those as we go to the next slide. So the first bar, the bluer of the blue, depicts March through September. You can see that obviously this graph reflects the average gallons for that time period, and you can see that the blue bar graph certainly shows an increase. And then the one beside it, more of the turquoise or teal, is what we're seeing October through February. And then the green would be the difference if you were to stack the green on top of the teal colored. It should come close to what the blue color reflects. The reason the first one, you're probably wondering why. Well, if you stack the green one on top of that one, it's going to be more. It was the graph scaling was such that the first bar there went off the graph. So if we were to have graphed it, the green would have stacked on there and would have matched up pretty nicely. But then as we move on to the Benelli House, you can see it's such a small amount. I apologize, it almost doesn't graph at all. And we can certainly, hold on one second. And then, of course, the new court stays pretty consistent through the summer and winter months, as does the old court. We did notice, and you'll see this on the next slide, that there was a slight difference. I believe it was on the on the old court. The usage was actually flip-flopped from the other ones, and we're associating that with the construction that was going on there throughout that time period. Anyway, yes.
If I may, just really quick, on the Benelli house.
Yes, sir.
My assumption is that all of the irrigation is handled by the complex meter, and that's why you're not seeing any irrigation on that one?
I think that's probably a fair assumption to make. Yes, sir. Yep. Excuse me. Okay, so yeah, these again just kind of mirror what we were seeing as far as the gallons usage, but this is just depicted in cost. And then with that, I'll do my best to answer any questions.
Council, any questions? Councilor Dykens?
Well, I had asked for the presentation because of the one member of the community that handed out the paperwork. And from what I'm seeing, and Keelan, correct me, please, the numbers that were presented appear total water usage, whereas that's using potable water for all sorts of things and then irrigation also. But as we're seeing, the irrigation portion is a whole lot less than the amounts of water that are being billed.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So I don't, personally, I don't see as big of a deal. I shouldn't probably say it that way. I apologize, unprofessional. Irrigation is always a concern, but it doesn't appear to be as much of a concern to me that caused this presentation.
If I may elaborate on that, Councilman Dykens, and now I'm going to rely on you to correct me if I'm wrong. So just kind of rough numbers based off the estimates that we plugged into the presentation here. Total for all, what is there, 5 facilities for the year was around $35,000. Out of that, about $6,500 was irrigation.
All right, any other questions, comments? Thanks again, Keelan. Appreciate the hard work.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to item 6C, presentation on Kingman AZ Connect mobile application.
Evening, Vice Mayor.
Good evening,
members of
Jerry.
Council. How are you doing this evening? I think we got some really good news tonight. We're going to be, we were excited to let you know that we're going to be going live with our mobile app, our city mobile app. And the name of the app is Kingman AZ Connect. So if you haven't, sorry, I'm jumping. I don't do this all that often. Where are we going? Are you doing it? That's Aaron. Aaron? Okay, Aaron. Awesome. So yes, this is our new city mobile app where this was direction from you folks when you decided that we had, it was, sorry, let me go one more. Yeah, so just a little bit of background. We had a strategic planning meeting last year about this time, and this was definitely a priority that you, council, had requested. I think this was going to definitely help with the communications with our citizens. And so I think a couple of you also mentioned that you had seen a couple of our neighboring cities' mobile app and asked us to go ahead and investigate that. So what we did was we went ahead and talked to our neighboring cities as well as a couple of other cities around the state and found out what type of solutions they were using and demoed a couple of about 4 or 5 different solutions, and we're proud to say that we decided on GoGov, which is the same application that they're using in Bullhead and Havasu and Page. So yeah, we evaluated a whole bunch of different solutions, and we're happy that it's very similar to what we've got in the website, because we're also going to be replacing our website report of concern. So this is going to be kind of a centralized reporting tool. So they won't have two different systems. So we're going to be launching that tomorrow as well as the mobile app. So you guys are going to get a sneak peek of what this is going to look like. We've got a QR code up there if you want to take a picture of that. If not, you can use the go into your App Store or the Google Play Store and do a search for Kingman AZ Connect. So yeah, so let's move on here. So the total cost of this project was $25,998, and we used the Omnia cooperative contract for this purchase. So, because we thought that this was the best value for the solution that we've got, so we selected. So, I've got Sarah here to talk about a little bit of the notification portion, but I just wanted to give you a little bit about what the information about what the application can do. It's got a lot of handy information. It's got a lot of city contact information. It's got YouTube links. It's also got some of the events that we've got throughout the city. I think we're using a lot of Josh's material for. Well, we've got a hyperlink going to his tourism website, the Go Kingman site, and we've also got the city calendar, as well as other good information, and it's all handy on a cell phone, so it's really, really convenient for our constituents. So, all right, I think I didn't want to steal the thunder for the app because I want to kind of show it. So I don't know if Sarah. Oh, there she is. Okay, if you wanted to just talk a little bit about the notification, and then we can demo the request portion.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Council. So part of the app offers a notification system. Basically, when you download the app, you are automatically signed up for notifications on your phone. We do have a text message portion, but I don't believe we have activated that yet. But you have the option to, I believe you're automatically signed up for the notifications. You can go into the app or into your settings on your phone and turn them off if you don't want them. But every time I send out a press release, I will now be doing it through the GoGov, and it will automatically send it through the phone, and it also sends it to all of our social media sites. So it'll still be posted just like it normally is. You just have the option to get it on your phone now. So if you have any questions.
Councilor Savage?
So everything's live except that, correct? The
Correct.
email portion?
Yes.
Or text message? On the notifications, I got a couple questions. If someone's got a flip phone, is this available on laptops or desktops?
The only part that's going to be available will be on the website for reporting a concern.
Okay.
So all of the handy
basically
information, it's already on the website. What we've done is we've just given you the hyperlinks as an option on
okay.
So I'll show you that when we.
Okay,
And
secondly.
I do post all press releases on our website currently.
Okay, good. When people are reporting leaks, we're talking about leaks or something similar, how does that get filtered out through the departments? Does it go straight to the department heads? Who's surveying the inquiries and dispatching them?
Well, thank you. So yes, we've actually we have workflow in the back end system for the staff. So yes, if there's a public works concern, it will definitely go to the Public Works Administration for them to mitigate, and as well as for parks and for police for graffiti and development services for code enforcement issues. So yep. So if you guys are ready, right, that's a sample of what the app looks like. When you first download the app, it's going to ask you to sign up. So please sign up and put your, if you want to, we'd like you to put your home address. And the reason for that is in case there is a road closure notification that's around your area, you will get those targeted notifications versus you just getting everybody's notifications, right? So that definitely helps, the residents that are living or around that area of concern. So definitely do that with your profile, and I'll go ahead and show you that, your home address there on the screen. I don't know if this is too small, so sorry about that. And then, yeah, like I said, we've got information. These are all just hyperlinks to the city website, job openings, council agendas, and even, I was mentioning this earlier for city events. And this one will just pull up, not city events, events in the city, not city-sponsored events necessarily. So, and I'm on LTE, so sorry. Just wanted this to show you guys this.
Counselor Staley.
Thank you. While we're waiting for that, can you tell us how people can get their events posted on the calendar so people can see it in the app?
I think that they would have to go through Sarah's group, or
They actually send them to economic development or tourism. It's through their website.
So you just go to the tourism website,
Yes,
put
you
the
go to
information for your
Explore
event.
Kingman, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's like something you fill out, or you can contact them.
Okay, because it'd be really great if everybody put all their events on our calendar, because now it's accessible in this app.
exactly. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we don't control the
Yes.
tourism website, but obviously they've got really good content. It's very colorful, but I think they've got a niche for it, right? And ours is really government related. So, so with regard to opening a ticket, you can just go from the main page and you can just start a request. And we'll just pick, let's pick a barking dog. So what we've done, we've included the Kingman Municipal Code on there just in case if there's any questions. And then from there, you get to, you just select make a request. You can take a photo. If you can take a photo, I don't want to take a photo. Anyway, I'll just take this photo. And what this does is it geo-verifies the location of where the photo was taken. So that will help our staff to be able to identify and confirm the location of the concern, right? But if you don't want to use that, you can just select no photo. And then it'll bring you up a map. And then you can select within the city boundaries, because like I'll try to go out to the county, it pushes me back in. So let's just say you wanted to find something out here at 310 North 4th Street. If you look at the very top of the address, it already shows, as I'm moving the mouse around, it changes the address, right? So it's just trying to find a confirmed address closest to the location of the concern. So I'll just pick 310 North 4th Street for now, and I'll hit select done. It's going to say okay, and I'm going to just type test only. And then you can put a time of day. This is not a required field, but if you wanted to put, the time. And then, so there's two options that we've enabled. Private, you as a signed up user will be able to get updates as well as mitigation efforts to close the concern. Or you can open it via anonymous, and by doing that, you're not going to get any updates. You're not going to know that you're just a concerned citizen. Hey, there's a pothole on this street. I don't care about. I just need to make a report. So we give you some of these options. There are going to be some topics here though that may require you to log in because we need to be able to contact you for verification of some of the information. So barking dog might be one of them. So anyway, so you just hit submit request as soon as you're done. And then it gives you a request number. So with that request number, you've got a list, and it just says you can track the status of this. And if you put an email address in the sign up portion, then you'll also get an email confirming it, and then it'll send you a link in case you were on a desktop or a laptop. So, and you just say, got it? And what we can do is we can go up and go the 3 bars, it's like they call it a hamburger, up on the top left, and then you can track all your different requests. Disregard all of my requests because these are all testing. So barking dog, graffiti, street potholes. So, you know, as you see fit, you can always, you know, see barking dog. So the one, like the one we just opened, barking dog at large. I can always make a comment on the very bottom of the screen and just say dog left, right? Or something, right? So you can post it and it'll update the ticket. And then, and I'll go back to that ticket, and it just shows the dog left. So, and then that's actually going to go through the workflow through the city, whichever department is responsible for responding to that concern. And then you'll get an update, I think an acknowledgement first, and then an update and see how the issue was remediated. So there's also a portion for the notifications. So when you sign up for the app, you're automatically going to get, you're automatically signed up for notifications. So push notifications, like I said, if there's targeted areas, geofencing for instance, you'll get those notifications. So you can also subscribe to new subscriptions that we're growing. We're just growing this out of the box. So as we start dialing in to more detailed type of subscriptions, then those will be available for you to subscribe to. If you don't subscribe to anything, you'll just get the generic notifications that Sarah's been putting out. So, and then from this notifications section, there's the 3 dots on the top right. You can look at your settings, and I've subscribed to City News and Releases. So, yeah, we're pretty excited. We're going to launch this tomorrow, but we wanted to give you guys a sneak peek of the product. I think it's going to be well received in the community. It's definitely going to be an improvement for our communication and engagement with the residents, and I think this is going to help you, council members, you know, try to help mitigate some of these complaints and concerns that you have from the community, and then you can just say, hey, download the app and go ahead and make that, open a ticket. So if there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Any questions? Councilor Savage?
Good job.
Thank you.
I'm really happy about this. The data that's shared with us goes nowhere, correct?
Correct.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Councilor Staley?
I just want to say thank you. I am so excited about this. This is something that, you know, other cities have been testing out, and they've had a lot of success with it. It's so nice because we were just talking about all these water leaks, and so instead of calling, it seems like it's going to be so much easier to just report them through an app. So, I'm excited about the calendar too, because people often talk about they don't know what events are happening, or they find out afterwards. So this is just another step to kind of let everybody know about all the neat things that go on in Kingman. So Jerry, thank you so much. It looks like you built a really excellent app that does
Thank you for the
everything.
direction. You know, if it wasn't for the strategic plan meeting that we had last year, you know, I mean, you guys recognized there was a need for it. And, you know, you just gave me the okay to go ahead and start doing research. So, you know, thank you. This was out of your direction. So, and then also I want to acknowledge our staff for all of their help in configuring and designing this. So appreciate it. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. I am excited. Very, very excited. All right. Announcements by mayor, council members, city manager. We'll start with you, City Manager Walsh.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. We just want to announce that we have a city engineer. We hired a new city engineer. He's with us tonight. Robert Petrio's in the back. He just started this week with us, so excited about that. And then also wanted to actually yield some of my time over to Annie. She's got a good announcement.
So I just wanted to thank council for your support of our Walk Away from Drugs. We are also a benefactor of those opioid settlement monies, so we do appreciate that. This year we held our 19th annual award-winning event here in Kingman, and I just got the data this morning from Josh that just at the park in that specific spot during the time of our event, we had 4,300 logged participants through his Placer AI data. So that is a testament to this council, to this community, and to our organization on the importance of this type of event. So thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Welcome to the family, Robert, and job well done, Clerk Meredith. All right.
That's all I
Anything
have.
else?
Nope, thank you.
Okay. Counselor Savage? Nothing tonight? Counselor Ward? Counselor Staley? Counselor Dykens? All right, on behalf of, I want to announce a couple of city events. Employee and Family Movie Night is the Addams Family on October 24th, starting at 5:30. It's at the Surbat Cliffs Golf Course. They're going to have a putting and chipping contest. There's a movie, hot dogs, popcorn, candy, drinks. It's family fun, so hopefully you all will participate. And then we have on October 31st, Chillin' on Beale, Halloween Bash from 5 to 8, starting on 6th Street on Beale. So the kids enter on 4th Street only, and then you will be able to go and trick or treat. So participate in that. On to item number 8, council requests for future reports and updates. Anything from council? No? All right. We do not have an executive session. We did that earlier. And we are adjourned.